Hi, I'm John Hood. I'm the author of a new novel called Mountain Folk. And this is the first in a series of videos we've prepared to give you an advanced look at some of the settings, themes, characters, and even magical creatures that populate the world of mountain folk. My book is called Historical Fantasy. That means it's a bit of a mashup of historical fiction and fantasy fiction. In the case of mountain folk, readers will see George Washington commanding his troops at Yorktown and the Over Mountain men marching, well, over the mountains to defeat the Tories at Kings Mountain. You'll see Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton argue about banking reform, abolitionism, and pretty much everything else. You'll meet American Indian leaders such as Cornstalk, Shenandoah, Dragging Canoe, and Nancy Ward. And you'll watch famous frontiersman Daniel Boone fight a giant fire-spitting salamander. Yeah, it's that kind of book. But several of Mountain Folk's central characters aren't famous Americans at all. They're fairies. Now, when I say fairies, don't think of little Tinkerbells with gossamer wings. I'm using the word more broadly to describe all sort of wee folk, such as dwarves, elves, brownies, and pixies. It turns out that almost all cultures around the world have stories of wee folk. Accounts vary, of course, but a surprising number of them converge in key details. Many are creatures that stand 2 to 3 feet tall. They're invisible to most humans, if they want to be. They're infused with magic, attuned to nature, and prone to pranks, but are also willing to trade favors for something they covet. Some fairy folk, such as sylphs, have wings. Others prefer to live in the water. They have gills and scaly skin. I happen to be standing in Chatham County, North Carolina, just upriver of the place where the Deep River and the Haw River come together to form the Cape Fear River, which then flows all the way down to Wilmington. Just behind me, just a bit down the river, is a place called Mermaid Point. Just before the Revolutionary War, one of the locals built a tavern near here. The story goes that at night, when the customers would stumble home from the tavern, they'd sometimes see mermaids at the convergence of the Haw and Deep Rivers on a sandbar that's now submerged. Fairy-type beings were also common in the folklore of Native American cultures. Among the Cherokee, who play a key role in mountain folk, their elders told stories about the Nunnehi, the Yunwi Junsti, and several other spirit folk. Some of them lived on high peaks, such as Blood Mountain in Georgia. Others lived in forests or underneath rivers. The Catawba Indians of the Carolinas had their own tales of fairies. They called them Yehasuri, which just means wild people. In the world of mountain folk, these old legends about fairy folk turn out to be true, or at least garbled versions of the truth. I had a lot of fun researching the folklore of various cultures and then assembling them as part of a broader story about colonial America. Now, I should say that first and foremost, Mountain Folk is an adventure story. There are brave heroes and terrifying monsters, thrilling rescues, and epic battles. But I also explore some serious themes: the immigrant experience, the clash of cultures, and the temptations of power. I also explore in Mountain Folk what it means to be loyal once distant wars come home, once brothers start fighting brothers. In future videos, I'll tell you a whole lot more about the world of mountain folk. You can always learn more by going to the book's website. That's mountainfolkbook.com. While there, you can learn more about how to order the book. Mountain Folk comes out on June 8, 2021. See you soon.